All right, here we go. So we're going to be talking about again how to grow social media fast, but also doing it while you're on the fly. For those of you that maybe you don't have 3, 4 hours a day, or even 2 hours a day, some of you don't even have an hour a day to really put your brand or build on social media. So you have to do what my wife and I did finally about 2.5 years ago. We just said beep bleep swear word, and we're like, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to take the biggest risk when it comes to social media, and I'm going to just let it go. And I mention this a lot, but I want to become the Steve Irwin of my day, right? Meaning Steve Irwin, the late the great Steve Irwin. And if you don't know who Steve Irwin is, if you want to grow social media, you want to learn how to capture attention in your industry. He's an example of what at least for me, how do you make almost any situation throughout whatever's happening in your day? And I know, of course, he's got editing and he had a film crew and all that kind of thing, but you can make almost everything that you're doing in your business, at your home, if you choose to, at the gym, if you choose to, while you're on the potty. I'm just kidding, although I'm not kidding. I did that. Whatever, wherever you want to be, you can do your social media on the fly if you want to, if you don't have much time and you still want to learn how to grow. Some of you are like, well, that's dumb. Who's going to want to watch me, right? Everybody, if you learn how to do it the right way. And you won't have to work as hard as someone who sits there for 3 hours trying to figure out their perfect content, laying out their content, getting a teleprompter. And again, if that's your brand, the teleprompter, the thinking it through, the analyzing, this may not be your segment over the next few minutes, right? Because I'm more of how do you build millions of followers or even thousands of followers or 10, whatever your goal is, but how do you grow it as fast as possible? And that's what I'm going to be going through over the next few minutes, how to do that on the fly. And I'll just say this, and again, I mention this a lot, but I think it's worth repeating because if depending on where you want to go with your social media, maybe you want to build 1 million followers, maybe 10 million, maybe 20 million, maybe you want to be a top 10 influencer. And again, influence isn't necessarily for ego, unless it is for you. Influence doesn't mean that you just have to be like the man or woman. Like it's not an ego thing if you have the right heart to serve, because influence is leadership. Influence means that you got people's attention who like and trust you, that now you can share your product that's going to change people's lives, your service that's going to change people's lives, and or your message that you want to get out to the world that you want to change people's lives with. And that's the power of pure influence, is being able to utilize social media for that purpose. And again, I believe we're going to look back one day and we're going to go, man, I wish I went all in with social media. And the thing that I have to trick my own brain with, because it's not easy to build social media, right? It's not easy to always be creative and do things on the fly and figure out how to tell a great, interesting story and how to pull the psychology of laughter and love or inspiration or motivation or challenge people where they get a little bit heated at you in the comment section. It's not easy to do that every day. But one thing that I'm learning to do is just to visualize. And I want you guys to just visualize this right now. I want you to visualize you're, let's call it 90 years old right now. Yes, you're going to live healthy past your 90s, but we're going to say you're 90. And let's just say you're with the number 1, 2, or 3 people that you love in this entire world that are with you, sitting in your favorite place in the entire world at that time, whether it's on your beach house in the backyard, on your rocking chair, in a beanbag, sitting around with your great grandkids or your kids or whoever you're with, your spouse, preferably, right? And you're sitting there drinking your favorite drink, glass of wine, whatever that may be for you. And you are looking back at the videos 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago that you did not want to post, or in the moment you felt, ooh, what are people going to think? Ew, cringy. Oh, but you did something that very, very few people ever do. You hit send. You hit send. And because all those videos that made me go, oh my gosh, Tom, I'm 49 years old. Yes, I'm speaking to myself. I'm 49 years old. What in the world? And I'm in a professional career. I don't just jack off. Oh, that sounds bad. I don't just jack around for a living, right? I attract professionals to my companies. I offer professional coaching services for the last 15, 20 years of my life. My wife and I run a team of over 40,000 people women, amazing, beautiful women inside and out that sell athleisure wear. And we teach people professionally how to run professional businesses from home or anywhere using the power of their phone, selling hot, high-end athleisure brand, right? That's what we do for a living. Now, when you look at my social media, though, you're like, looks like you just have fun and you're a big dork. I'm like, yeah, because that's what I like to do. That's my niche. That's the niche that I needed to get into with what's called, for me, phase one, which is doing something that I talk about a lot, but very few people really get until you get it. Like, this is one of those things where you get it, like when you get it. And it's usually one of those things where when I'm speaking in a crowd, like, I don't know about you, but like, you wonder why everybody doesn't take action on something so simple when it's like, oh my gosh, because every one of you, I believe us as humans on this earth, we're like popcorn. And sometimes we don't hear it until it's hot enough. We don't hear it until we've heard it maybe 100 times. But the thing that took me literally tens of thousands of times to hear, that finally popped like a piece of popcorn in my pea brain head, was, and I heard this from literally Warren Buffett. I heard this on a YouTube video. Almost every leader that makes over, and I like to study people over 100 million that still have somewhat of a life, somewhat of a family life. How in the world, like, what is their number one thing that they have done? Was it their high intellect? Nope, not necessarily, unless you're Elon Musk, different situation, right? But in most situations, what they did, like Richard Branson's of the world, is they, and so many others that I'm getting mentorship with in my local community here, and friends and family and people that I paid for coaches, the number one thing is shut the brain off, right? You don't need all that. And again, I'm specifically for scaling social media, like, for sure. Obviously debatable in your business, depending on what kind of niche you're in. My industry is so simple. You just need to get your butt moving and not overthink, right? You've heard it a million times, but I don't know if we know the depth of that. So for phase one, for me, how do I build the business, still be with my beautiful bride every day, because we love to date almost every single day because we can. How do we have fun every day, because that's my personality. But also, how do I grow a business to multiple 7 figures, soon to be 8 figures? But how do I grow this brand and take advantage of the power of the internet? And the way you do that is, and here's where meat and potatoes, if you want to call it that. You ready? You want to experiment fast as possible, which, side note, again, takes shutting down the brain and not overthinking about what people are going to think and all that stuff you hear 1,000 times. So it's experimenting fast with quantity, on the fly content. Because here's why. Because unless you're already an expert, let's say like Justin, or somebody who already has spent 10, 20 years or 15 years or however long social media has been around, unless you're already a freaking guru in what you do when it comes not just to your niche. Because look, I don't know about you, but if you've been on TikTok lately and you look at some of the biggest speaker, trainers, authors in the entire planet, and they are freaking bombing on social media, at least in TikTok or some of the newer up and coming platforms. And it's not because they're not great. It's not because they're not in their ideal audience. It's not because they're not speaking to all the things that they know how to do and they've been trained and they teach for a living. It's because they're doing the same thing that a million other people in their niche are trying to do. Even if they're at the pinnacle, they're not breaking free right now. And it doesn't mean that some aren't breaking through, like obviously Grant Cardone, obviously Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously the Seth Godins, and the 1% of the 1%ers are really crushing it. The Brad Lees, he's finally starting to really crush it on social media. Patrick Bet-David, like the 1% of those 1%ers are breaking through in their mentorship, their leadership type niche for sure. But it's not easy to break free. And I'm going to be talking about what are some things that I would do no matter what niche that you're in that can set yourself apart for that blue ocean, whether you're in network marketing, whether you're in a professional sales business, real estate agent, doesn't matter. All right. Because here's why you need to post content quantity. Quantity means, and I don't have time to go break down which ones. For sure, TikTok is definitely a quantity machine. And I think Facebook Reels right now is huge. Justin already talked about YouTube. It's my least focused platform, but that's changing very quickly because I agree with what Justin said. I believe YouTube, especially shorts, especially if you're getting comfortable or you want to do short form video, I think YouTube obviously is the place to go. But what I found is that if you post 10 videos, 9 of them, like let's just say you post 5 videos for the day, 4 of them might bomb, but that's that last video that you did on the fly. And some of you are like, how in the world? I'm not even posting one video right now. Most likely the people that aren't posting, or maybe you're only posting one video, it's because, again, you're more in the quantity or the quality game, right? Or let me just be a little bit more direct with love. You're overly worried about your content. You think that it's got to be so well thought through. And I don't know about you, but if you've done social media for over 2.5 years, like I've done and seen videos do millions, one video over 50 million, and most of my videos bomb, but many of them go mega viral. And the ones that go mega viral are almost always the ones where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit like, I can't believe I'm going to post this thing. Oh my gosh, I'm a little bit, boom, post it. Those are the ones that go viral. And everyone, I'm like, okay, I'm going to curate this one. I'm going to create a really interesting skit. I'm going to really think this one through. I'm going to really plan it out. Sometimes they do well, but most of the times it's just another video that's a filler video. So learn whatever that is for you. In my view, again, just one person's view that you can take, leave, or disregard, do whatever the hell you want with it. But I believe that many of you are way too damn cautious. You got to swing that bat like Babe Ruth, because here's why. Because you got to absorb what's working and what's not working fast. You got to gather what I'm learning after 50 years old on this planet, gathering ingredients of success faster. And in everything that you want to do, let's say it's social media, there may be 175 key micro ingredients that your brain doesn't know because of a blind spot, doesn't know because of lack of experience, doesn't know because you haven't posted enough. The 170, and I'm just making up a number, by the way, it may be 50, it may be 20, who knows? But there are ingredients in making the best world-class soup in the world, from a cordon bleu chef or a Michelin star rated chef, that chef knows how to make the, whatever it is, 45 ingredients of the garlic that mixes with the salt, that mixes with the fat, that mixes with the whatever, the herb that mixes with the fat and the meat and whatever that is, right? They've spent years practicing, flexing, not posting, right? But practicing, like, oh, let's test this one. Let's just see if putting a date in the soup works. Nope, that bombed. Let's try something new. That's what you need to do on social media to get that thing really humming, is practice. So you can figure out what doesn't work, what does work, so you can keep adjusting. All right. Because you need to gather. And here's the most important thing. And 90% of the gurus, especially if they sell courses, they want to sell you the logistics because it feels like it's tangibly valuable. Like, what time should I post? What hashtag should, all that's extremely valuable. And I don't teach it, by the way. And I don't teach social media, by the way. So I'm just giving it straight. I don't need to sell you a course on social media, but I'm just telling you what I see work for, at least for us. And again, learn the logistics of the basics of, the how-tos. But the number one thing that you want to be gathering is the psychology of the story. How do you tell a good Steve Irwin story, right? So, and if you've ever seen, I'll give you an example. If you've ever seen, I don't know where it's at, but one of my viral videos about a year ago or so, there was a bug crossing the trail while I was with my wife. So if my brand is around living life, building a lifestyle, getting people to know, like, and trust me, even if it's not in my perfect niche kind of content, but my niche is just to get people, just to become known in phase one. Phase one is just to have fun, to practice, to do fun things. So I was an example of just living life with my wife like we do every day, now in Puerto Rico, when this was in San Diego. And there was this weird looking bug that crossed the trail. And I just got down. I got down because I practiced doing a lot of video. I knew that if I got the camera right at the ground level, it'll look like it's just a better view. I don't know how to explain it, but a better view of whatever I'm trying to see. Like, it's more eye to eye level of the bug. And it looked like the bug was like really, really big, right? Bigger than life. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm Steve Irwin, and I'm not 49 years old. I'm like a kid in middle school who didn't care what anybody thought. And I'm going to make this bug the most interesting bug in the world. And I'm going to be like, and I remember learning, because I practiced a lot on TikTok specifically, about the new masters how they tell their story with amplification. And even if it's not my normal personality, and even if I feel weird in the moment, talking to a camera with no one watching, with no energy around me, with my wife sitting there, are we going to hike or not? And this bug crossing the trail, and me acting like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's a traffic jam here in San Diego, California. There is, what is this? It's a bug. And okay, so I'm not going to go into it, but like learning how to do that. And I'm telling you, some of you are like, oh, Tom, you're an extrovert. Tom, you're a big dork. Tom, you're a weirdo. That's how you're able to do it. Trust me. Look at my freaking social media, my first 15 years. I started doing YouTube videos in 2008 or whenever, like literally, I had a YouTube account, or I had a YouTube type streaming company that I owned before YouTube, right? With another partner. So we were doing videos many years ago, but I got in my own head. I started thinking too logically. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be dead in about 50 or less years anyways. What do I got to lose? And if I want to get a message out to the world, even if it's not my perfect, boring ass content that I was doing prior that I didn't want to do every day because it was so boring, right? And again, you do you. What if you love your niche and you just love being in that one niche, then rock that sucker. But the one thing I will challenge you, no matter if you're in one of your micro niche, whether it's selling insurance, whether it's real estate, whether it's building network marketing, whether it's selling your athleisure wear, what in the world are you going to do? Look at everybody else that's doing something successfully on social media, but maybe take 2 or 3 different creators and figure out what this creator's doing and that creator's doing and combine the 2 videos together. So as an example, a trending song is proven to pull a certain emotion of a pattern interrupt. Like, oh, there's a trending song. That's like, I don't know, when I hear a trending thing, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And sometimes people put really stupid things to an interesting trending sound. And I still catch myself watching because the song is what? It's proven, right? The song is still proven. And I will watch longer than I want to, even though the video is so stupid, because that song is proven. The person isn't proven. The content creator is not proven, but the song is proven. So what can you do? Take that trending sound, take that trending theme, and add another layer to it of something unique in your niche. So let me give you another example I was thinking about, because I have a lot of friends who are really big speaker, trainer, authors, multimillionaires, but they're not really popping on social media yet with their motivation, their leadership content yet, right? Their business scale content yet. So I'm like, what would I do if I was back in the leadership niche, the personal growth niche on TikTok, let's say, if I was wanting to do that niche again, which by the way, I am in phase 2, so let's say I have a content on how do you scale with lowering your brain and scaling with speed. Like, how do you really, what does that really look like? Why not go on the street and interview weird or not weird, but creatively interesting, unique people on the beach or wherever you live in downtown Detroit, Michigan, right? Get on this, instead of being behind which what I'm in front of right now, my ring light, right? In my office right now. Why not just make your office the world? Again, this may not be your thing. Think of something different. And instead of just kind of talking at people about, hey, you need to create speed in your video, or you need to do whatever it is that you're teaching. Why not ask a question for people on the street? And then at the end, when you capture someone's attention of something that's different than your competitors are doing, or something completely unique and out of the box, it's a little bit more shocking, a little bit more interesting, then you can get the attention of people first, and then you can kind of interweave like your point of the message on whatever that may be for your real estate niche or your insurance niche or whatever that may be. And again, listen, you may disregard what I'm saying. You may just be someone who does the same thing and, be consistent and figure out a way to be your authentic self and vulnerable. And you could be the one or the few that penetrate through with your micro niche. So I'm not saying you can't do it that way, but I am all about layering. I call it layering, which is doing something different. So again, we're in an athleisure business, and my wife and I we work with tens of thousands of women that are pretty, right? Pretty inside and out, beautifully curved, and women in all different sizes and shapes of amazing women that we work with. But I watch them in Cancun, Mexico. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I see them doing the same video the same way. And I'm always like trying to shake it up. As an example, I will like throw something in the background, right? While they're doing it. And the girls, it's interesting. They look at me like, why is Kim, my wife's husband, being such a cringy, weird guy? Why is he telling us to take one shoe off and keep one on? Why is he telling this odd man to go by and just stare for 15 seconds across while the girls are doing their normal trending sound, their normal trending video with their athleisure wear, promoting lifestyle, but doing something that's a little bit different and unique out of the box, right? And again, I'm not saying it has to be weird and dorky, but definitely I would recommend doing something that's different and out of the box when it comes to, building in social media. So, and then another thing that the last thing I'm going to wrap up with in the next 1 minute or so is this. The cool thing about social media, especially what I call phase one, is you could do it on the fly. So you can literally just sit down today. It's Friday. Do it maybe tomorrow on Saturday or Sunday, and think of the ideal way that you would want to live your dream day, your dream week, your dream life. Like, would you really want a farm? Like, in fact, can you do me a favor? I got 1 minute. In the comments, put would you want a farm? Would you want to do luxury travel? Like, if it's not just about work, would you want to kayak around the island you live on? Would you want to do a catamaran through the Caribbean? Like, if you could do anything that you're not doing currently that would be completely fun and interesting or unique and different and out of the box, what in the world would you do? What would you do that would be different and unique and out of the box? Travel around the world. Yeah. So the cool thing about life, I'll just use that, is why not travel with the highest luxury around the world that you can? Now, you may not start that way, depending on what your budget is financially, but you could just have an end in mind that you're going to go to the most luxury places in the world. And what I would do, instead of just doing what everybody else is doing with luxury travel or traveling around the world, is I would hack it. I would send a letter to the top 100 YouTubers that do luxury travel already and say, hey, I'm going to be in Japan, where you do YouTube videos. And I would I got a really fun story where you don't have to think about content for the next hour, already laid out that I put 30 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is. I would love, and I've got an idea, and I'm also going to be, I'm building my YouTube channel right now, or whatever, TikTok or Instagram. And I would love to promote you. And you could, if you have the budget, say, hey, I'm going to put $1,000. I'm going to do whatever. I have a budget to grow the views to at least 10,000 views, and I'll be promoting your channel aggressively. Is there any way that, I don't know, again, I'm just thinking off the cuff right now. This is not something that we're doing yet, but it's something that is working with people in your niche, specifically in whether it's travel or whatever that may be, because they already have an audience. And I get to spend the day doing something fun in the niche that I love, which is traveling in a location, which is fun, being with my beautiful bride for my situation, and going and doing content, which means that if I'm doing content, I'm not only building a relationship with some of the top connector in the world, the other YouTuber, building that friendship, I'm also creating collaboration. I'm also pulling his audience to mine, possibly pulling my audience to his. And I get to have fun having a life if you're doing it on the fly, right? If you're not overthinking your content too much. So I pray that this helped. I'm going to be transitioning right now. And the only thing asked that I have today is, if you click on my face, if you're on Instagram, Tom Challen, and if someone could put in the comments, because I am streaming live through the internet as well, through Facebook and Instagram right now. Tom, T-O-M, Challen, Challan. That's my Instagram. If you go there and just let me know that you're watching from where you're watching or listening in on this show right now. If you are a woman and you would like to partner with my wife and I, and with a lifestyle business in the women's apparel and fitness and athleisure business, you don't have to be fit, by the way. You do not have to have a social presence, but you are hungry for another income stream and you want to work with my wife and I directly. We have tens of thousands of women that we help start their own business in athleisure wear. Hit me up on Instagram right now, or Facebook if you're on Facebook, in my messenger. I'll look through it today for sure, and just say the word show me. Just say the word show me, and I will get some information to you if you want to learn more, if you're the right fit for that business model. All right, with that said, we're going to be transitioning at least here on the amazing Clubhouse. And I didn't ask who's coming up, but I know someone's going to tell me. Is it? Oh, I see Scott Simons. Is it Ramon? Oh man, you guys are in for a treat. You guys ready for a transition? The cool thing about Clubhouse is you get to be cross trained. You're going to learn from two individuals that know how to scale businesses in the multiple millions and sell their businesses in the multiple millions, like Ramon and Scott Simon, two people that are the top communicators in the world. You're going to learn so much. Right? Hold on. Invite people to the room by clicking that up arrow here, because we're bringing on two of the top entrepreneurs in the world that you get to learn from for shockingly free right now if you're listening in. So pay attention to Ramon and Scott Simons. Take it over, guys. Adam Smith is here too. Scott, you want to kick it off? You want me to go ahead? Let me see if you're going to unmute or not. Are you up to say hey, Ramon, go ahead and get us started since you came up to the event. And your big news. First of all, good morning, Breakfast with Champions. Thank you everyone for joining us. I see a lot of familiar faces and see some new faces here.